Chapter 7, Creating a Flexible Organization. Here are the learning objectives. So an organization is a group of two or more people working together to achieve a common set of goals. Organizations must be organized to achieve these goals. An organizational chart helps to illustrate the shape of an organization. Here is a visual showing what a typical corporate organizational chart should look like. In the beginning, management must decide how to organize the firm. These decisions focus on job design, departmentalization, delegation, span of management, and chain of command. So first we'll talk about job design. So job design, so after creating the organizational chart, you would work on job design, and that's the structuring the tasks and activities required to accomplish a firm's objectives into specific jobs so as to foster productivity and employee satisfaction. Job specialization is an often used approach to job design. Job rotation is an alternative to job specialization, and this combats boredom. Also, job enlargement and job enrichment can do the same. After job design, departmentalization happens. So, jobs can be, or organizations can be, can use different kinds of departmentalization. They can utilize departmentalization by function and grouping like all marketing together or all finance together, different departments, putting them all together. Or they can choose departmentalization by product, and that is combining the marketing, finance, all of those things together in one area or one department that surrounds a specific product. Or they can choose departmentalization by location, and that's usually the location of the customers. So there could be an American division, a European division, something along those lines. Or they could choose departmentalization by customer. So there could be a consumer department and a business department. So when you're selling to consumers, you'd have a whole department built around there. And then if you're selling to other businesses, you could have a department surrounding that. Also, some places will choose a combination of bases. So they could do location and product or whatever. Here's an example of multi-base departmentalization. Delegation. So because no manager can do everything, delegation is vital to completion of manager's work. There are 3 steps to delegation. First, the manager must assign responsibility, then the manager must grant authority, and then lastly, the manager must create accountability. And here is a visual listing the delegation process. So this slide is really important, so I'm going to cover the entire slide. There's barriers to delegation. So for several reasons, managers may be unwilling to delegate work. The manager does not, and here are the reasons. The manager does not trust the employee to complete the task, or the manager fears the employee will perform exceptionally and attract the notice of higher level managers, or the manager may just be disorganized and is unable to plan and assign work effectively. And you may have worked in situations that have had these reasons as well. So authority. Sometimes it spreads to the lower levels, or the authority is kept at the top. So a number of factors can influence the extent to which a firm is decentralized. The fourth step in organizing a business is establishing the span of management. And that's the number of workers who report directly to one manager. There's wide and narrow spans of management. So here is what a wide span and what a narrow span of management should look like. Organizational height also has an impact on the human relations. There are four basic forms of organizational structure. There's line structure, line and staff structure, matrix structure, and network structure. So the line structure, line structures are not very effective in medium or large sized organizations, but it's an organizational structure in which the chain of command goes directly from from person to person throughout the organization. Line and staff structure works best with medium and large size organizations. And that's where you have the line structure, like we have just discussed, but then there's also staff managers, or you could call them consultants or advisors that assist in the management of the organization as well. And here is a visual showing what line and staff managers' organizational structure would look like. So line managers, they have the authority, but staff managers are the advisors. The line and staff structure can be a breeding ground for conflict, though. So in a matrix organization, authority flows both down and across, and individuals report to one or to more than one superior. This is what a matrix structure looks like. These matrix structure teams are empowered to make major decisions. And then lastly, we have the network structure, or the virtual organization, which, because of what's happening in the world today, this is becoming a really popular structure. There is limited formal structure associated with a network organization. So it's new, it's evolving into something different all the time. So moving on to corporate culture. So that's the inner rites, rituals, heroes, and values of a firm. An organization's culture has a powerful influence on how employees think and act. So here is a visual identifying different types of corporate culture. And the idea is organizations can kind of choose what type of culture they would like, and then they can do different things to encourage that type of culture in their organization. And then we also have committees and task forces that are groups that come together to accomplish a goal. You know, some of these goals are continued goals that a standing committee would help with, or an ad hoc committee would help with just a short-term purpose, or a task force would help with as a one-time committee that would help with a major problem or a decision that needs to be made. So here are the advantages and disadvantages of committees and task forces. And then lastly, there's an informal organization, and that's the pattern of behavior and interaction that stems from personal rather than official relationships. So I used to be a smoker, and when I think of an informal organization, I think of the group of friends or a group of coworkers that I used to work with that we would go outside, every 2 hours and talk for 10 minutes. And we'd usually talk about work while we were smoking this cigarette. So when I think of informal organizations, I think of, that smokers group. Also, the grapevine. I'm sure you've heard, like, I heard through the grapevine that so-and-so got a promotion or different things. So this is also an informal communications network in an organization that really is a source of information a lot of times. And that is it for this chapter.